Yes, Ian, can you share about your work and what you do?
I'm actually a financial planner. So many professionals, right, have assets here and there, but they don't know exactly how much do they have at retirement, right? How much can they draw in a month so that they won't draw too fast or too slow, and if the amount is enough or not. So my job as a planner, right, is really to use my software to answer these questions for them and help them to get more on their retirement income. So my favorite example was when I worked with this 61 years old uncle. You would be thinking that, well, he's so old, what can he do? Right, actually, we went in to just move his assets around, and he ended up with 12% more income just just because we moved things around.
Okay. How long have you been doing this?
I've been working more than 3 years doing this already. Oh, at the same time, I'm actually a professional magician also. I've been performing since 2016 when we, with regards to that.
2016. Okay, so that is how many years? 6 years?
That's for my magician. I've been 8 years performing
Eight.
magic. Yeah, but as a financial planner, I've been doing this for slightly more than 3 years.
Okay, okay. Can you talk a bit about your educational background?
I actually, when I was younger, I was an art student. I was from School of the Arts. I did my IB, but I ended up in university in NUS doing economics and mathematics.
Oh, okay. So, what were you doing before you became a solopreneur?
Honestly, I was still studying, okay, and at most I was just doing magic shows on the weekends while I was in school.
Oh, so you've never worked at a full-time job before?
Uh, Internship, does that count or not?
Internship. Okay, so you've had an internship and then after that you came out on your own and you never decided to get a job ever.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. At which point of time did you realize that it was financially sustainable for you to be a solopreneur?
Actually, that didn't really cross my doing anything other than business didn't really cross my mind in the first place because during my uni years, right, I was just working weekends and just doing magic shows, and at that point in time, I was already earning a fresh graduate's pay. So it got me thinking, how can it be that just 2 days of work, I can't be doing a full-time work and earning the same amount as me doing 2 days of work, right? And actually, my environment also, there's no way I cannot do business because of my environment. My parents are entrepreneurs. We have a family business. Okay, and when I was 18 years old, I followed my cousin who's doing corporate secretary and M&A around when I was like, and we met like about 200 SME owners during my 8 months with him. And then when I was younger, again, being a magician, right, I needed to market myself. So I started meeting other event planners when I was 16 years old. And then even my magician friends, right, all of them, uh, all of them actually went on to build their own businesses as well. And some of them, right, are so successful in their event companies, such that they even quit school for it because to them, school is hindering their entrepreneurial success. So with this kind of environment, there's no way I can go and work a normal job.
Interesting. Can you talk a bit about your magician background also, like what got you into it?
Oh, last time there was this magician who's very famous from Taiwan. Not sure if you still remember him, called Liu Qian. Yeah, so he had this TV show. So I watched his TV show every single weekend, every single week. Then afterwards, right, very coincidentally, there were three magic shops around my school. So again, I walked into all of them, and that's how it all started.
Wow. At what age was that? Like 15 years old or younger than that?
I was 13. I was 13.
13. Okay. That's amazing. That's an amazing story. So you mentioned that as when you were still in school, you were already making like a fresh grad kind of salary. Do you mind sharing right now what is your average monthly income? You can share a range, that's fine.
And, I don't mind sharing, just that it is a huge range. So it sometimes there'll be like 1 or 2 months whereby I only earn like $2,000-3,000, but usually it can range from like 6K a month to like 30K a month. So the range is quite wide.
Yeah, correct. That's how it is with the other solopreneurs, which is why I kind of asked them to share a range. Okay. Can you walk us through a day in your life?
Typically on weekends, I spend my time doing magic shows. right? And then during the afternoons, there will be those like 1-2 hours slots, right? I'll be preparing for my for my service in church ministries, right? Then, if I really need, okay, I might fit 1 or 2 appointments with my clients because they are just too busy to catch them. But other than that, mostly weekends are for doing my magic shows and church, right? For weekdays, uh, mornings will be for internal meetings or courses that I sign up for, right? Like CHFC courses or other asset structuring courses. And on Friday mornings, I have BNI super early, 7:30 a.m. all the way to 9:30 a.m. Right then afterwards, I'll go for appointments, go for more one-to-one meetings, and maybe for the afternoons around 2 to 4 p.m. or 2 to 5 p.m. Those will be the timing whereby I'm working on my admin matters, preparing proposals, following up with uh, people doing admin work, and at night usually I will go out for networking events. So for example, go for seminars, for no more social gatherings that are targeted at business owners. And just like last night, I went for the Singapore Associations of Magicians, and I gave a talk over there. So yeah, that's my day.
Cool. Okay, now moving on to our business. Both for financial planning and also the magician business, right? How do you attract clients for these businesses?
For me, magicians wise, right? Because I've been doing this I've been a magician for 14 years, so people kind of know me. And end of the day, it's a very niche trade. So is is mostly through word of mouth and referrals, right? And it's the same for financial planning as well because of the nature of the business, right? It's difficult to run ads or conduct marketing activities outside. So whatever advertisements that we have to do, we have to go through compliance, and we have to be wary of MAS trying to catch us for any compliance breach, which sometimes, right, can be as uh simple as someone complaining. Even if you didn't misrepresent anything, as someone complain, we'll get reprimanded as well. So for me, I work 100% through referrals. No cold calls, no Facebook ads or whatsoever. So I think the main thing is that you need to meet a lot of people so that you the referrals actually come. And when whoever you meet, right, be very intentional on implanting the ideas into them, right, about who do you serve specifically and what results you can achieve for this group of people specifically. And the next thing is that you want to have breadth, but you also need to have depth. So whenever it's always easier to convert and existing clients to buy from you again, or work on the existing clients network, right? So we need to make sure that we don't just serve individuals, but we want to serve families and their network behind. So for example, whenever I serve a client, I'll make sure that my my service, right, is extended to their entire family, and I will try to appear in places whereby their entire family or network can see us. So I will do appointments at their house, their office, right, and ensure that the whole financial planning process, right, ensures that everyone gets involved. And the convenient thing, okay, is because of the nature of my work, right, financial planning is like an ecosystem. Whatever you plan doesn't just affect yourself, but affects your entire family. And if you plan really well, but your family don't plan well, then you might be the one who end up in detrimental. You might be the one who end up in a worse off state because they didn't plan. So naturally, it's very easy to bring the whole family into the picture, and that way, right? I will have a never-ending referral chain. Yeah.
Okay. So actually, I was going to ask how do you retain the clients, but I think you've already answered that.
I
Okay.
think more so than that also, we this is just the part on how to attract them to bring them into a funnel. But for retaining, right, is that we need to ensure that we can achieve the top of mind recall. So we need to regularly, every few months or few weeks, right, we need to regularly talk to them, message them, right? So for us, it's common that we give festive wishes and festive gifts, right? But that's just more of a way to make them remember us. But more than that, right? Actually, we don't just work with people we like. We would rather work with someone, right, that can get them results and do the job well. And of course, we must like them also, but mainly we want to have results. So, as much as I do all these gift things, right, I don't really spend so much time doing leisure activities or having meals with my clients, but I ensure that every time I message them or every time I touch base with them, right, I can value add in terms of their finances. I follow up on things that they haven't done. So again, by the nature of our work, the by the nature of our work, there's no way we can do complete financial planning at one go, right? So every time I see them, I can move forward a little bit. So now I do the insurances. The next time I see them, hey, have you done your nominations and your lasting power of attorney? Then the next time I see them again, we talk about have you do you know how much you can withdraw at retirement? Have you thought about how you are going to give this money to your family? So each time I see them, I value it, and this is one step further than just giving them gifts, right? Because not only do I achieve top of my recall, every time I see them, right, there's actual results that happen. So yeah, mainly that's that.
Okay. Okay. What tools do you use for work?
Exclusively Microsoft Excel. The entire world's financial system have to thank Microsoft Excel.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. How about like for the magician business?
Merchant business, wow, this one right, it's a secret. I can't reveal it to you. But mainly all the different magic props that I get online.
Okay. Okay. What is your business biggest business struggle right now?
Wow, I think different stage of the business there are different struggles. I think for me currently, right, time management is an issue for me. Be it as a magician or as a financial planner, time is money, right? Especially as a financial planner, because uh it's entirely my income is entirely dependent, right, on my client facing time. And again, is entirely dependent on my skills and knowledge as an advisor. So any time spent not seeing clients or spent on back end tasks, right, that are not for my financial advisory, right, is actually money loss. So uh yeah, time management is the tough part for me. And how I kind of like resolve it, right, is that I get accountability buddies to help me. So a lot of times we do things that are important and urgent. That's the things we do every day. Things that's not important or urgent, we push them aside. But a lot of times, right, we will end up doing things that are urgent yet not important, like I don't know, like your dog poop on the floor and you go and clean it, or whatever, right? And end up where we delay things that are important yet not urgent, such as like exercising, taking care of our health, and working on the business, prospecting. These are things that can delay, but we tend to procrastinate because it's just not so urgent, right? So to ensure that I actually do these things well, I get my buddy some accountability buddies to help me lah, so that every week, right, there will be a fixed timing whereby I will just sit down with them and do what is required so that I can be intentional about it.
Okay. Very disciplined. Can you share the most helpful books or podcasts or any person of influence, any kind of resource that greatly influence your work?
A lot, one only. Or
No, like just share whatever comes to your mind.
yeah, I think when I was younger, I'm not sure if anyone knows, right? I was a autistic kid, right? Doctor said that I have Asperger autistic, right? So I probably don't know how to handle social interactions, can't really understand human emotions well. So the first book that really helped me, right, was this book called is this book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So it may seem ridiculous that how come such a book, right, is so influential, right? But because I think in the book he outlines several so-called formulas in human interaction, such as like when you have to say something not nice, you give a drop of honey, tell them something nice first, and uh, how to cushion your words so that people can accept it further. And the principle that I think I took away from this book, right, is that everyone wants to feel a sense of importance in whatever way they have. So whenever we speak, we want to ensure that we can always make them feel important, and that really helped me to make more friends and build my network. And then another book that I thought really helped, right, is this book called Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. Okay, so this is probably the best sales book I met. So this book, right, doesn't teach any sales techniques. And in fact, right, this book is trying to tell you that sales techniques actually hurts you. Don't use them. They, according to, so he did a whole body of research, right? According to his data, doing sales techniques are like trying to force sell somebody, right, will hurt you in a big sale context, like in financial product sales, like in my line, right, doing insurance and investments, or you're doing software sales. They are not cheap. It's either 5 or 6 digit whenever you sell something, right, or big machineries, because these decisions are usually made not by emotions but carefully calibrated, and there are a lot of parties involved, right, in making a very logical decision. So spin selling is really a book that gives a framework, right, on how to do the big sale. And it reminds us that sales techniques are horrible lah. So which I think is very true, because as experts in our field, right, we should be seen as advisors or consultants, not as salespeople. And the fact is, we really do have more domain knowledge and technical expertise than the buyer. Like in my line of work, right, I went through, of course, 4 years in school doing economics and mathematics, then 3 years of professional development. I spent thousands of dollars and many hours, right, to reach this technical expertise that I have. And definitely, we are experts in our field. So it will be weird, right, if as an expert, I'm trying to sell you something, because if a doctor, right, today you go to the doctor's office, the doctor is trying so hard, right, to sell you a heart surgery. Actually, that sounds totally ridiculous, right? If you need a heart surgery, you need it. He doesn't have to really sell it to you. So spin selling really gives you this framework, right, on how to guide people to do the big sale, and uh, reminds us that all these sales things actually hurts us more than we think. So this is really one of the key books that changed my life, because a lot of traditional insurance salespeople, right, they follow very outdated sales techniques that make people feel like they are pushy and aggressive. So that is it. Then there's still a lot. Like, okay, for magicians wise,
Mm.
uh, I read a few books or watched their performances. Right, these are people like Liu Qian and
Mm.
Gary Kurtz, Canadian performer, Christopher T, magician, again another famous performer. So these books, right, actually taught me how to present magic, but in turn, right, it taught me how to present my thoughts clearly, like in a presentation setting. And of course, in daily life, there will be my personal mentor, right, currently my manager. He taught me not so much on not that he didn't teach me about financial planning, but he taught me more about how to be a good person, how to do the extra mile for anyone, right? That, and also my personal mentor, my who taught me magic when I was young. He still mentors me in magic now, right? Even my even when I meet difficult situations with clients, right, I'll still call him, because he's a person who's very emotionally sensitive.
Mm. Okay. That's, yeah, thanks for sharing. I think, it's helpful for people to know that you have created a support system, and also you know where to go to get resources, when you need help. I think that's really good advice. Okay. Um, have you ever had a failure that set you up for later success?
If regards to this question, I can't really answer it, because I don't have one failure that really, help me to set me up for success. But for me, it's like every single failure is a learning experience. So it's an iterative process. I need to fail enough times, right, so that I know I have enough data to decide what works and what don't work. So I
Mm.
think every failure is valuable.
Mm. Do you have a favorite failure?
Honestly, really never.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, like for somebody like Thomas Edison, right, fail so many times, probably he don't even remember what he failed. So I think that's the idea.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, through your work, have you learned anything that is particularly helpful or advantageous?
Yes, I think is the realization, right, that uh, hard work hard work is the secret lah. The secret is there's really no secret. So Bruce Lee actually have this quote, right, that says, "I fear not the man who practices 10,000 kicks once, but one kick 10,000 times." So hard work really pay off, because it compounds. Like at the start, right, like how compounding interest work at the start, you don't see any effects at all. You may feel like you are putting in so much work, and then you don't see much results. But over time, right, all this will compound, and you will start to see the exponential growth happen. So hard work.
Okay. What are bad recommendations that you hear in your profession?
Recommendations to what kind of people?
Mm, within your trade, have you received any bad recommendations or bad advice?
Yes, yes. I think like a lot of those older agents, right? They sometimes they may teach new advisors certain sales script, right, or certain rapport building frameworks, which I think is quite ridiculous because like I like Corinne, then I'll talk to you. You like me, then you'll talk to me. Rapport is not so it's intentional, but it's not like so carefully calibrated, right? So I think following all the traditional sales scripts, building this kind of false rapport with people, right, is it makes things very weird. And then some the older ones, right, they say, oh, go and catch people up for a coffee or whatever, which is good, right? As an entrepreneur, we should be doing that constantly. But they but the education that we receive, right, is that sometimes they teach us to not be so upfront about your intention to do business. But I thought that that's not nice because we want to do business with people who's very honest and transparent, right? So these are rather bad advice for new advisors.
Understand. Okay, moving on to your mental and emotional state as a solopreneur, right? What do you enjoy most about your work?
I think for me, especially in financial planning or in magic, right, there's really no end to how much we can learn. For me, it's really constantly leveling up in my skills and knowledge, right, and constantly being challenged with more difficult cases to plan for. So to give some context, right, is that for me, I do $1 million round table a year, but there are people out there, right, who does. I'm not even kidding, but in one single year, they do like a few hundred or a few thousand $1 million round table in a single year. So their cases are like in the billions one. So there's really no end to how far, right, this business can go. So the best part for me is really to constantly challenge myself with more and more complicated cases and learn more skills and knowledge, right, to execute them. And the one of the very interesting part is when we talk to clients, because all these concepts can be very complicated at times. We have certain asset structures have multiple moving parts. So the fun part, right, is how to bring across these concepts in an understandable manner to clients. And some more clients, right, they all come from all walks of life. So you have to think very creatively, right, in how to communicate these ideas to them. And this part, right, is especially fun for me. And of course, other than that, like as advisor, it goes on to me that um, this this client and advisor relationship, right, is a lifelong thing. So building lifelong relationships and having this turn into friendships, right, that's also something that I enjoy.
That's nice. Okay. What do you emotionally struggle with as a solopreneur?
Hmm. Okay,
For
so
example, like burnout or imposter syndrome, that kind of stuff.
I think there are different stages to this. So at the first 2 years, right, maybe I may feel like yeah, maybe not even first 2 years lah, but there will be times along the way whereby I may feel uh there may be some loneliness along the way, because one day, right, as we progress, we'll be in a very different place as compared to our peers. So I'm going 27 this year, and most of my peers, right, uh, maybe they are more interested in boy girl relationship. I don't know what kind of house they can buy, where to travel. But the people that I mix with, right, we're talking about uh, building how to build business valuations, how to create a business and exit from it. We're talking about all these things that are just in a totally different world. So at the start, you really feel like uh, I don't really have people who understands me, at least in my immediate circle. But end of the day, it's just part and parcel of building your business, but because we are taking the route less traveled. And another thing probably I'm still feeling it now is that burnout can be real, right? Like last year, I worked so hard until what the moment January comes, right, I just slept for 2 weeks. So so I so how I'm trying to deal with it is to work smarter, right, and so that I can use less time to achieve more and really outsource some of the things. So I think part of the reason why it was hard because my admin staff left for studies like in December. So yeah, it ended up taking up a lot of my time. So I think to deal with burnout is probably have to work smart, outsource, and be very intentional about what commitments you can take on. We have to choose.
Mm, okay. When you feel overwhelmed or unfocused, what do you do?
If I feel overwhelmed, I pray. Yeah. But other than that, I go to when I'm unfocused, right, I go to office, right, or I call my colleagues because end of the day, environment matters, right? We are the average of the 5 people we mix with. So going to an environment whereby everyone are dressed up in suits, right? There's aircon, bright lights, motivated people, inspirational quotes everywhere. I think that really helps me to focus on work.
Mm, okay. How do you keep yourself motivated?
I think at this stage, it's survival.
Are you even still in survival mode now? You've been doing this for so many years.
I think uh, we have to be very aware that the moment we stop working on the business, right, and just end up in our comfort zone, that's the time whereby we start dying off.
Okay. What would you say is your key to success?
I think integrity, hard work, and having systems, building systems.
Okay. Okay, moving on to your future plans. Do you see yourself expanding your business in any way?
Yes, definitely. So I think I can't run this business alone. As I take on more clients, right, I'm really needing more and more administrative help. And furthermore, like if I can hire staff to assist me with all these administrative matters, right, this frees up time for me to see the people that matters, right, and really focus on that 20% that generates on the 80%. Free times, right? Free time actually gives us space to work on the business and not just in the business. And secondly is that uh my time and effort are limited lah. So in as much as in the financial planning business, right, the value of your time has no limits, but my time still has a limit. So so I think the fastest way to grow, right, is to leverage on other people's time for exponential growth. And end of the day, if we are not just looking, of course, if my business is kind of profitable, right, because I don't have any cost to pay, but rather than just building something profitable, right, now over time as I grow older, I also want to build something that's valuable. And the difference is that profitable business can be may or may not be able to be sold, right, but a valuable business, right, is something that can be passed on as a legacy. So in time to come, definitely have to expand. Yeah.
Mm, okay. So wrapping up, right? What is your advice for other solopreneurs who want to get started?
I think begin with the end in mind. So one common practice that's being spread around, right, is to start doing a vision board, which I think that's very true because if we see, breathe, and just keep thinking about where we want to end up with, right, because law of attraction, right, we'll most probably end up there. And otherwise, right, if you don't have this vision or this end in mind, it's just like going onto the road without GPS. You might drive to somewhere, but you most probably won't get to where you want to be. So yeah, that's the main advice.
Okay. Um, do you have anything you would like to offer to the audience? Anything from your business? Any offers you have?
Oh, okay. So like I mentioned, right, for me, I had a background in economics and mathematics. So a lot of my advices are more data driven. And I actually spent 3 years, right, to build this financial planning template. This will be able to give you your CPF projections, your insurance needs, your financial ratios, your retirement needs calculations. And in other words, right, they can give you a very exact financial timeline, so you know when you can buy your first house, when you can retire, and how you can really accelerate your goal by a good at least 2 to 3 years. So case study that I had was my friend, right? He had a PhD in machine learning, right? He got first class honors for his mathematics degree, very smart, right? But he cannot count, and he tell me that oh, he thinks he can only get married at like 35 years old. But ended up, right, after we run through this financial timeline, we gave him enough clarity, and then we realized that if we just move his assets around, right, at 28 or 29 years old, he can get married already. So I think this financial model and projections tool will be something I can offer. And another thing is that I I can do this for people, is that I can do a portfolio summary for you. So it's really like it's basically a very big sheet to put together all your existing financial portfolio into this sheet. So why is it important, right? Is that people probably know what you have already, but why is it so important is that you know, but your whole family doesn't know, right? When something were to happen to you, right, this portfolio summary actually acts as a treasure maps, lah, right? To tell them what insurance you have, what are your investments. You know, in Singapore, there's actually more than 8,000 insurance policies, right? That nobody claims them. And my teacher, her father had dementia, eventually passed away. You know, she didn't know that her father, right, had 500,000 cash value policy stashed somewhere until one day she received a letter from Manulife stating that, hey, it's just a regular policy update. There's 500,000 inside there. So imagine if she didn't receive that letter, right? What would have happened? So really, what I can do is to offer this financial planning model for you so that you have clarity on your financial timeline, and I can do out this portfolio summary for you so that your family knows exactly where are your financial portfolio. And of course, along the way, if we do find some things that we can optimize, right, we can do so. So what I mean is really to get more while paying for less, lah. Because insurances have been getting cheaper along the years. If you have plans that's like 10, 20 years ago, right, you might want to review them. So a very good example is that I have my friend. She was 27 years old when I did this for her. She only had 50,000 of death coverage that she had to pay for life. But because things have been getting cheaper, right, I did a simple restructuring for her. This 50,000 became 300,000. So that's like 6 times more. She didn't pay a single cent, never had to pay ever again. And this coverage can last her for a lifetime. So yeah, the financial planning template and the portfolio summary.
Okay, that's good. That's good stories you have. Any connections you are looking out for?
I would like to look for HR professionals working in SMEs, and as well as other business coaches or advisors for collaborations.
Okay. And finally, where can we go to learn about your business?
Well, I spend a lot of time on my Instagram. You can look me up on my Instagram, Ian
I see.
Tan CK.
Okay, great. Okay, that's the end. Let me just stop the recording. Yeah.